and welcome to this new section on business planning and the first lecture of business planning in this course on business strategy formulation, modeling, and planning. So, what are we going to do in this section is to help you learn in depth about business planning, and we will cover a lot. We will talk about what is business planning starting in this lecture. Then we will talk about what does this look like in quite a lot of detail so that you understand what is it, the output of this process of business planning. And then we'll talk about how do you go about doing this business planning. So that's what you have in store for yourself in this section. So let's talk about what is business planning. So what do you think? What is business planning? You have a picture of a business plan in front of you. So based on that, what do you think? What is a business planning process? What is business planning? So business planning is a process of preparing a business plan. It's as simple as that, right? But it starts with as an input from the strategy, business strategy, and that becomes the input for a business plan. And from the strategy, we get into tactics, specific actions that you would have to execute the strategy. Then you get into developing the milestones, matrices, tasks, schedules over a period of time. Once you have these details, you get into forecasting sales, spending, cash flow, etc., etc. And if you don't have a business plan, you go ahead and start doing the work, right? You start doing the work of running the whole business plan, reviewing it, and revising it, and moving forward. And if you have a business plan even, then what you do is you formally document the business plan, prepare a deck and a summary, present it to the right people, and get approval. So that is the entire. At the end, you have a business plan. So that's the, in nutshell, a quick overview of the process. So what does this business plan look like? If we were to prepare a formal plan document and a slide deck or a summary, what would it look like? Any thoughts on that? So this is what a good business plan will look like. It will start with the company background. It will in a slide or two, and I would suggest to keep each of these documents a slide at max if you're preparing a deck. Then it will talk about what is the mission and vision of the organization, and these are two different things as we will see later on. What objectives and goals do you set out for next 3 to 5 years, and that's a part of the business plan. Then you give a background of the industry and the competition by analyzing them, and we will see as we go forward what does that really mean. Then you talk about what does it take to succeed in the industry as key success factors. You present your SWOT summary here at this point of time, and what's your overall competitive strategy in terms of differentiation, cost, and focus. Then you say what are your products, what are your target customers and markets, what is your unique selling proposition, what are your functional strategies, starting with marketing strategy, sales and distribution, purchase, operations, people strategy, R&D, finance and control. And you see pretty much it is here till now what we talked is by and large the business strategy, right? And because the business plan starts from the business strategy, so that's all the starting point, and in a way that's the context for the business plan. Once you have defined till finance and control, then you start developing into specific initiative and milestones, and that's a new thing that starts. So you develop specific initiatives and milestones, and based on those milestones and initiatives, you get the forecast done, and you make financial projections, and you present the financial projections in this plan. And finally, you present what is the management team behind this. Now, the management team could come in the end, or it could come in the beginning. But that's in this document we will assume that it comes towards the end. So, how is a business plan different from business model and strategy? And we are kind of recapping here. So, there are three things that we saw: a business model, a business strategy, and a business plan. So, how is business plan different from business model and strategy? So business plan is a detailed future action plan. As we saw, it kind of builds up from business strategy where the strategy is left, converts that into detailed action plans and the expected financial results of following that action plan and that strategy. So if the business plan is different to the extent. Whereas we saw business model is primarily a current way of doing, so it's a starting point of what you are doing. And business strategy is the directions, and we have a good idea of what business strategy is. So that's how a business plan is different from business model and strategy in terms of being a detailed action plan built on the existing model and the future strategies, and that converts into detailing of the action plan by functions for the whole business, and say lays out the expected financial result as a result of following that. So what do we do in the next module? Having understood some little overview of the business planning, what we will do in the next lecture is we will start next lectures actually we will start taking a look at in depth at the business plan. We will look at each of these elements that you see on your screen and get a good understanding, and some of that might be recap for you as a part of what we would have covered in business strategy, but nevertheless we will quickly take you through all the elements of the business plan. So thank you so much for watching this first lecture of business planning. I hope you are beginning to enjoy this new section as well and beginning to learn something new, and I look forward to see you again in the next lecture as we start covering the new elements of this business plan.